Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to today's webinar. So thank you for taking the time to join us for today's webinar. We are delighted to have students, graduates, parents, and professionals with us who are interested in exploring higher education opportunities in Australia. Today's webinar is designed to provide you with valuable insights into postgraduate study opportunities and pathway programs at the University of Newcastle, Australia, along with an overview of medical career pathways. So we will cover postgraduate programs, admission requirements, scholarships, student support, and career opportunities, followed by a question and answer session where you can ask your questions. Most of you may already know us, but for those joining us for the first time, we are a campus. For nearly 30 years, we have been one of Sri Lanka's leading international education consultants, guiding students toward higher education opportunities around the world. We recruit students for a wide range of programs, including medicine, engineering, management, aviation, nursing, and many other disciplines, helping them achieve their academic and career goals at internationally recognized universities. I'm honored to welcome Ms. 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗡, Regional Manager of the University of Newcastle, Australia. I'm also delighted to welcome Dr. 𝗔𝗠𝗖 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗔𝗧𝗘, Chairman and Founder of 𝗣𝗥 Campus, Dr. 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗑𝗣𝗥𝗡, Dr. 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗡, and Dr. 𝗔𝗠𝗖 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗑𝗣𝗢. They will provide in-depth information about the Australian Medical Council AMC examination, including the exam structure, preparation strategies, practical tips for success, and the pathway to pursuing a medical career in Australia. So this is a valuable opportunity to gain first-hand insights from experienced professionals and have your question answered. We are excited to share this valuable session with you and hope it will help you gain a clearer understanding of your study options and career pathways. So if you have any questions, concerns, or would like more information at any time, please feel free to contact 𝗣𝗥 Campus Hotline at 0711 101010. Without further ado, let's begin today's webinar. So the University of Newcastle, Australia is one of Australia's leading public universities, recognized globally for excellence in teaching, research, and innovation, with a strong focus on graduate employability, industry connections, and student support. The university offers a wide range of undergraduate and postgraduate programs, including health and medicine-related fields. So we are proud that 𝗣𝗥 Campus is a direct partner of the University of Newcastle, supporting students throughout their application and enrollment journey. Today, Ms. 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗘, Regional Manager of the University of Newcastle, supporting students throughout their application and enrollment journey. Today, Ms. 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗑, Regional Manager of the University of Newcastle, will share valuable insights into postgraduate opportunities for MEd, MD, MBBS, and health science graduates, including programs, scholarships, special benefits, and available pathways. So now I would like to invite Ms. 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗘 to begin her presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar. And I appreciate I have a few very reputed fellow panelists as well. So I'm sure we are going to give a lot of insights on studying health, science, and medicine programs in Australia. From a university perspective, I represent the University of Newcastle in the capacity of Regional Manager for South Asia. So I look after the whole region, but I don't know whether it's a shame or it's fortunate on my part that I am representing a webinar for Sri Lanka for the first time. And thank you, REC team, to kind of, give me this opportunity, which was blessing in disguise. My colleague who was supposed to run this presentation today had some personal stuff, so he couldn't do that. So I'm very happy to be here. I will quickly run the presentation, tell my students, prospective, current, or if we have any applicants here, or even parents who are looking to gain some information on what University of Newcastle offers in the health, medical, and science field. This is what Newcastle looks like. And the reason we've put this slide at the very beginning is because each university in Australia is very, very reputed. At the end of the day, it's not just the university that the student stays in for the whole of their tenure of being there, but also will explore the city. And to be honest, the time at the university will be much lesser in comparison to the time they spend outside. So what we want our students and parents to take away from this slide is that there are a lot of nature-related activities that students can do. Newcastle is a city which stays very healthy. Everybody starts their day, majority of the population in Newcastle starts their day around 5 to 6 a.m. That's fairly early, maybe for, students coming from our region. Well, I'm based in India, but I know that the regional characteristics are pretty similar to here and Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, South Asia, whole of South Asia, basically. But yes, the city wakes up very early and they usually indulge themselves in, water sports or maybe just going for a jog next to the beach, going for a swim, going to the gym before they typically start their day. And usually the day at the campus or at work starts somewhere between 8 to 9 a.m., depending on how they've scheduled themselves. But a very beautiful city for somebody who loves exploring nature and nature-related sports. Why should you study with us? Well, Newcastle, okay, besides what is mentioned on this website, on this slide, I would just like to kind of take you back to the history of Newcastle. This is only the 61st year that the University of Newcastle is into existence. So we're fairly, fairly young and one of the best young universities as per the Times Higher Education ranking. Now, this university, about 6 decades ago, started for the Aboriginals of Australia, so the original custodians of the land of Australia. And keeping domestic enrollment in mind, this university, of course, started delivering education to educate more of domestic students and stuff. But soon it gained the potential to kind of introduce top class education to international students as well. And I think within my facts could be slightly incorrect as well, but within just about a decade or so, the University of Newcastle received its registration to run to run education for international students. Being fairly young, we've consistently ranked in majority of the subjects in the world. So as of now, sorry about the second tile in the first section, 13 subjects ranked in the top 200 in the world, including our health, medicine, and science programs. As a university, we are top 1% in the world with a very, very high postgraduate employment outcome. Now, for some of the programs, for example, a bachelor's leading to a doctor's of medicine, 100% of our students get employable in just 4 months of graduating. And this is one thing that we take a lot of pride in, because we just do not want students to get a job in an indefinite time. We want the students to get a job in a decent amount of time, and which is why we proudly publish that time as within 4 months of graduation, regardless whether they're UG or PG students or package students. Now, of course, studying medicine, health, or science-related programs in Australia is very expensive, generally. How students can cut down on their expenses is by choosing a city which is comparatively affordable and a university which is able to offer scholarships based on, the potential of the student, the past academic scores, etc. So when it comes to affordable living, Newcastle is kind of about 44% cheaper than Sydney, more reasonable than Sydney. And Sydney being the most expensive city of Australia and one of the most expensive cities in the world, often does not become the first choice of students, while there are great universities in that city. Speaking of other famous cities like Melbourne and Perth, about 25 and 27% more reasonable and affordable for the same amenities, exactly the same amenities, which include groceries, leisure activities, accommodation, sporting, gym, etc. And the best part about staying in a regional city, which is, one of the regional cities is our city, Newcastle, is that you do not compromise on the quality of the same amenities. So here we have given the comparison of the exact same groceries that you would typically buy in Sydney, Melbourne versus that you would buy in Newcastle. Same leisure activities that you would do in these cities versus that you do in Newcastle. And in fact, the same transportation. Well, this is one thing that is very important for students to know is that while we've shown how reasonable the city is, we also need to see the trends that kind of are going up and beyond. To be honest, I have been to Sydney many times, and I know that even as a tourist, there is a lot that you know is expensive in Australia, in Sydney, in comparison to other cities of the country. We have a Sydney campus as well, with students who are primarily looking for the fact that they want to live that outback lifestyle with regional benefits. We recommend our Newcastle and Central Coast campuses to those students. These are some more facts about our university. So on the very right, you would see that we have 5 campuses, and the newest campus that we've opened is at the Central Coast, which is called as Gosford campus, which you see right behind me in the virtual backdrop. This is one of our most advanced leading campuses for any medical health related subjects. And the best part about our Gosford campus is that the Gosford Public Hospital is based in our campus, the University of Newcastle campus, which means students who are looking to intern or they have some work integrated learning opportunity or mandatory work integrated in their program, they hardly spend any time on the road to go from one place to another. All they need to do is just shift between the floors, and it becomes really convenient for our students to do so. Well, this blue screen, this blue tile that you see here is our main campus, which is called as a Callaghan campus. The G is silent here, so it's called the Callaghan campus, and it is spread across more than 300 acres of land. I think it's about 340. There is no way we can actually have one nice picture only of this campus to put on the screen. So we really urge all our students, parents, incoming students to kind of go on our website and see the virtual tour, because that gives a really good background of what the campus looks like. One interesting fact about this campus is that when this campus was built, none of the natural habitats were destroyed, spoiled, or damaged. So this campus is actually originally also owning a lot of natural habitats, which means a lot of animals can be seen on this campus, which are typically cared by professionals and are very, very safe. So in the city of Newcastle, we have 3 campuses, out of which 2 are our academic campuses, and 1 is our non-academic building, but which is highly integrated with our I2N network. I'll talk about that in just a second. But this tile on the right upper corner is our city campus. This is another academic building, which is primarily offering a lot of master's programs. So between the Callahan campus and the city campus, it just takes about 15 to 20 minutes. We have a free shuttle service throughout the city, which can take students from one campus accommodation to various campuses within the city without any cost. Now, speaking of our Q building, which is on the left upper corner, this is a non-academic building, but is a university building which kind of boosts all the creative minds. So we have a lot of, if you've heard of Shark Tank, which I'm sure a lot of people would have had. So we have this kind of a setup in which we kind of boost students' brains right from the very starting of their program, in case they're interested into entrepreneurship, innovation, sustainability, climate change, etc. Anything under the creative industries is also very well boosted here. We have a lot of laboratories, which are not just science-related laboratories, but also non-science related laboratories. A lot of students, especially coming from medical background, who want to eventually open up something of their own, can start getting that integration right from their master's program, starting of their master's program. This is our Central Coast Orimba campus. So in our Central Coast region, there are two campuses. One is called Orimba. This is a comparatively older campus. And the new one is called the Gosford campus, the whole picture of which is behind me. And this is the Gosford Hospital, which is in the campus. This is something which is really important for our students who are coming for our health programs like public health, health management policy, social change and development, etc. So we are proud to be a partner with the United Nations Institute for Training and Research, which is called UNITAR, sorry. So basically, this organization runs a global network of training centers, which is called as CIFL, and they run it around the world. And in the whole of Australia, the only center that CIFL has is actually based in the University of Newcastle. In fact, not just for Australia, but the whole of Asia Pacific also, which means that we have the relevant accreditations for our health students to kind of, apply for work as a professional right away after they've successfully graduated from the program. So Australia is one nation that kind of lets you enjoy part-time work rights without a lot of conditions. So unlike other destinations, some of which will only let you work inside the campus or, very small amount of time or would cap the pay, etc. Australia is very flexible as a country. So whether you work within the campus or outside the campus, you can work up to 48 hours every fortnight, meaning every 15 days. And universities, in fact, help you get a part-time job. Most of the universities, when you enter University of Newcastle, any campus, at the very starting of the campus, you will find that the Career Hubs team is based there, which will help you not just find the right job when you're about to graduate, but also lets you, enjoy those facilities while you've just started studying. So every international student can commence work the moment they have enrolled on their, in their course on their campus. So we help a lot of our students. In fact, some of our students are actually working in onboarding newer students to kind of, get accustomed right from when they are in their home country. And when they actually come physically to the campus. So we have our whole team of graduates who are helping us do that. While we have a plethora of undergraduate, postgraduate, research, master's by research kind of degrees, we also have relevant accreditations and recognitions for most of our programs. And for those programs that we do not have full accreditations, we have preliminary accreditations for, the fairly newer kind of programs. So typical accreditations that, health medicine and science students would look for would be APRA, Australian Dental Council, Midwifery Accreditation Council, etc. And we're very proud to kind of have them on board with us. Now, I was told that, you would be interested to look at some of our niche programs within the field to kind of understand what kind of faculty we have and the kind of infrastructure we have to deliver studies in some of really in-demand skills and occupations. So, under the medical radiation stream, we have about 4 programs. We have Bachelor's of Medical Radiation Science and an honors program, and all the medical radiation related programs will be minimum of 4 years in a full-time setting. What we are also kind of really proud of is not just the fact that we have great faculty or infrastructure, but we also have a lot of trust from the government in delivering these programs. So in the whole of city of Newcastle and in the Central Coast area, there is no other public university. So we naturally receive a lot of funding for research, for development from the government, and to also boost these programs in the sentiment of international students. So a lot of our programs will also become eligible for scholarships when students meet certain entry requirement criteria. But coming back to the medical radiation, we have diagnostic radiotherapy, nuclear medicine, radiation therapy, and in fact, we have started already seeing interest coming from South Asia, particularly for nuclear medicine program. Occupational therapy is one program which is booming right now in the country of Australia. And also we've seen that there's a lot of shift towards this program, particularly in South Asia. I may not be 100% sure about Sri Lanka, but for the region, I can say that occupational therapy, speech therapy, these are 2 fields that are kind of booming, early childhood, etc. Most of the medicine programs in Australia or within our university would be offered once in a year because these programs are typically quota-based and highly niche. Usually they have the, weakest, if weakest is not the right word, maybe the smallest strength in the classrooms because the faculty really wants to focus on each student. And the fact that these programs are also very high on work integrated learning, meaning the moment students enroll, typically from semester 2, which is ideally just 50% in their first year of studies, they would be getting access to work, to intern, and to gain that practical knowledge. And under most of the programs like these, when students graduate, they would typically have nothing less than 400 to 800 hours of work experience, which will be really, really valuable for them when they want to look for a permanent job outside. Under the belt of physiotherapy, unfortunately, we do not have a master's, but we have an excellent 4-year honors degree for bachelor students. Again, all the accreditations and recognitions are available. There will be a lot of internship opportunities and is offered at our biggest Callaghan campus. For those students who are, because this webinar is kind of focused on medical and science and health students, please note that majority of the professional programs will only be offered once in a year, which will be typically in semester 1 of each year. And the semester 1 starts around February of each year. Now, a lot of students who have, tried appearing for medicine competitive test in the country or are actually looking to just explore how, it works in Australia, we have an excellent 5-year Bachelor of Medical Science leading to the Doctor of Medicine program. It is also called as Joint Medical Program, which we call it as JMP. To be more convenient. Now, one of the facts about this program that I'd like to tell to our students or parents here is that this is one of the shortest degrees that you could get in Australia. Typically, all leading universities, which are, at par or, in the same bracket, offer this packaged program for nothing less than 6 to 7 years. And this program is expensive without any scholarship. So it costs somewhere close to $93 per a year. And within 5 years, a student is typically able to graduate with a doctor's of medicine, after which they need to do a mandatory internship of 1 year before they can apply for their license or go ahead with their specialization studies. Other universities in Sydney and Melbourne typically have this course for 6 or 7 years, which means not just 1 or 2 additional year of added annual fee, but also that study commitment. With University of Newcastle, what happens is because we are regionally located, after you graduate, you also enjoy an extended stay back period. So a bachelor's or let's say a JMP student, if they're coming to our Callaghan campus, would stay for 5 years for their academics, 1 year for their internship, and about 4 years for their post-study work rights. And if they come to our Gosford campus, which is this campus, 5 years for academics, 1 year for internship, and 5 years for stay back guaranteed, which kind of helps students accumulate those points to apply for a residency later, depending at that time how the residency criteria works. But for this particular program, we have 100% employability rate and has been 100% year on year. Well, not just that it is compliant from the angle of government and whatever, but we are also consistently ranked top 10 in Australia for medicine. Not just this program, but any program under medicine. Biomedical program is another program that is available a couple of intakes a year, semester 1, semester 2, and also attracts a 20% annual tuition fee waiver. When I say annual tuition fee, it means it's available each year for 3 years, 20% off, 20% off, 20% off. Students who do not wish to get into nursing or do not wish to get into like a proper medicine program, often choose either biomedical science or biotechnology, depending on what their interest looks like. But we have both the options available. And immediately after they graduate, they can typically go into pharmacy, even medicine in other universities, because we do not have a standalone PG for medicine. But they could study laboratory medicine, which is a fairly new program that we have. This is probably one of my most favorite slides to talk about the nursing program in Newcastle is because, number one, we are giving you 800 hours of clinical experience before you graduate as a student. And depending on which campus you are, you may also have some really rural clinical experience, which kind of helps students a lot at a totally different angle, to be honest, if students opt for that. Of course, this comes with APRA registration and, it is an ANMAC accredited degree. Our Bachelor of Nursing students, about 93% of them enjoy employability in just 4 months of graduating. Majority of the universities in Australia do not do scholarship on nursing because of the research money, the investment, and the whole planning that happens behind this program. But we are very proud to be able to offer a 20 or a 30% scholarship depending on the academics of the student. And that is, again, going to be annual. So under the health category, we have another program which is emerging quite a lot. And if I'm not wrong, this is also under the skill shortage in Australia, which is called nutrition and dietetics. Again, an honors degree, which kind of makes the graduates global ready because a 4-year duration is accepted by most of the leading and developing and even developed nations. This course is offered just once in a year. And if you go on the website and write down the name of this course and go to our landing page, you would find that we have, I think, close to 15 or 16 jobs mentioned under career pathways for this particular program, which is quite diverse and large. Okay, under the health faculty, again, there is a Masters of Health Management and Policy, which is more so in the with the management approach to understand health policies, etc. But there's also something called as Masters of Public Health. Now, you could combine these two, or you could just study these two independently. I mean, either of this independently as well. So typically what we've seen is that students, especially who've done an MBBS or, from South Asia or from any other country like Russia, Czech, Ukraine, etc., we've seen an inclination that they would study public health in Australia and simultaneously appear for their AMC so that they could get into the field. You could do that, but we also have something called as a Masters of Laboratory Medicine, which is more so into medicine and not just covering the whole of health faculty only. So if students with primary that mindset that they want to simultaneously do, AMC and also get into a little bit of public health, understand health management and policy, we have about 4 options with how they can do. And we accept students with an MBBS background as well, or any health or medicine background person. Speaking of laboratory medicine, this is what I was talking about. We have applied for our AIMS accreditation, and this is a fairly new program which was only introduced last year. So we have to allow at least 2 or 3 intakes before we get our full accreditation. So we're currently sitting at a provisional accreditation for our students. Well, I'll just take another minute or so before wrapping up the course offerings. And this is another course, Food Science and Technology, which is quite under skill shortage and in demand in Australia. With a 400-hour of practical industry engagement, we have an exceptional employment outcome of about close to 95% in just 4 months of graduating. Again, it is eligible for an annual tuition fee scholarship waiver, which kind of makes it really affordable for international students. I've already touched on the scholarship part, but this is something that really attracts our international students to be able to put down, kind of what they can expect after they graduate, whether from an undergraduate or a postgraduate program. The starting median salaries for any postgraduate out of University of Newcastle is about $108,000 on an annual basis, which is one of the most handsome salary packages in the whole of Australia graduates enjoy. You could live on campus, off campus. We have one of the largest on-campus accommodations available. I think we have close to 4,500 beds for international students. And if applied on time, the accommodation is almost guaranteed for each international student. And that's about it. Once an application is made, we can typically also connect you with any income, any on-ground student support, getting any information via faculty directly to you. We have that kind of an arrangement as well. But thank you so much for your time listening to me, and probably I'll hand it back to the REC team.
Thank you so much, Ms. Apurva, for your presentation. Our next speaker is Dr. 𝗔𝗠𝗖 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗔𝗧𝗜𝗢, who is currently working as a consultant in Australia. He will share his personal journey, experiences, and practical advice on medical career pathways in Australia, including his experience of progressing through the system as an international medical graduate. I would now like to invite Dr. 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗡 again to begin his session and share his experience with us.
Right. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. Unfortunately, the clock is against us, so we'll have to rush through the presentation. So just to give a bit of background about myself and how I ended up in Australia, which is going to be an inspiration for some of you sitting in the audience. So nothing glamorous. If you share your own story, it's going to be pretty much the same, I would say. I graduated from a state university in Sri Lanka way back in 2014, did my internship in Sri Lanka. After my internship, I decided to migrate to the UK. At that point of time, UK was a bit more attractive destination for me because of family reasons. I had my extended family over there in the UK. I started living and working in the UK, gained some international experience. Then back in 2025, I decided to explore a bit down under Australia, and ever since never turned back. So it's interesting because I have experience in 3 different healthcare systems already. I've worked in Sri Lanka, I've worked in the UK, I've worked in Australia. So it's a bit of a comparison I'm going to make. Nothing personal, it's all based on my personal experience. You may say otherwise, but we'll go through the list and see what we can figure out. So in Sri Lanka, the most important thing I saw was like the strong clinical exposure. We are dealing with numbers, basically. Even if you walk into a clinic like an outpatient clinic, you'll be seeing 150 to 100 patients a day. And the pathology that we see in Sri Lanka is invaluable. It's so valuable, it's so precious, even if you start working in a different healthcare system like in the UK or Australia. And I think as we are working in a sort of resource deficient system, our clinical skills are a bit more heightened. Our clinical skills are a bit more pronounced working in a resource low setting. When I moved to the UK, the biggest difference I saw was like the structured postgraduate training in the UK, the evidence-based practice, the guidelines, and the most important thing is the multidisciplinary team approach and the teamwork. Looking at the audience, I think there are different other healthcare professionals as well. I've seen a few physiotherapists joining the session, some other allied health professionals. So if you work in a slightly different healthcare system, I think you work as a team as opposed to a consultant or a very higher specialist-led kind of team. So you have got like a what we call as a vertical hierarchy as opposed to horizontal hierarchy as opposed to a vertical hierarchy in the UK. So when I moved to Australia, the most important thing I realized was the work-life balance is incredible here. So one of the main reasons is I do a lot of private work at the moment. So no NHS time, like the NHS pressure in terms of the admin burden kind of things. And the healthcare quality, the flexibility, the opportunities are incredible in Australia. Apart from my personal experience moving to a different healthcare system and moving to the UK and then to Australia, I thought of sharing some interesting research data from 2014. This was conducted by elite researchers in Sri Lanka. They gathered some information from undergraduate and newly graduated medical students from Sri Lanka, and about 56% of them were considering migration as an option. Nearly 24% of them, like 1 in 4, had clear plans of migrating, and 1 in 3 already had some considerations with regards to migration to either Australia, United Kingdom, or US. The main reasons why they picked up migration was better quality of life, obviously higher salaries and financial security, better opportunities in terms of postgraduate careers as well as career development, and better healthcare systems and working conditions. What was holding them back was mainly family ties, commitments to serving the country, and they didn't want to be put in the deep end of the pool. They wanted to stay in the comfort zones, and they didn't want to familiarize with the foreign system. So I'm just going to compare the two systems, UK as well as Australia. I know it's a very wordy slide. I'm not going to go through everything. One of the key things I would like to touch on is the salary. So in the UK, at each and every level, your salary is going to be slightly less than Australia. For example, I think if you're a senior registrar in Australia, you'll be earning pretty much the same amount of salary in the UK. So there's a significant difference in the salary. It's worth mentioning the work-life balance is incredible in Australia compared to the UK. And probably that's why a lot of UK graduates as well as a lot of UK doctors are considering moving down under for a better work-life balance. Training opportunities, I think it's going to be more or less the same in both countries, but UK has got its own pros when it comes to training. Most of the UK training pathways are internationally accepted and recognized, so you can walk into many other different healthcare systems. But with new changes happening in the UK with reforms, the pathway to the international doctors to get a first job in the UK as well as to pursue postgraduate education and the qualification seems to be a bit of a barrier at the moment. Cost of living, obviously, it all depends on where you live. London is going to be very expensive. Sydney and Melbourne is not far off from that, but generally speaking, because of the higher salary, you're gonna perform slightly better in Australia compared to the UK. One of the other things is weather and the lifestyle. Obviously, UK has got a bit grim weather, darkness is all around the year, so you get a bit depressed when you work in the UK. But the upside of the thing is like it's close proximity to the Europe, so you can make a trip within a couple of hours if you live in the UK. But generally speaking, a lot of Australian cities have got better weather, better work-life balance, better outdoor lifestyle kind of thing. So it's a better option, I would say. Permanent residency is probably going to be the clear winner when it comes to the comparison between the UK and Australia. I think Australia has got a clear migration pathway, particularly for the healthcare professionals, doctors. Eventually, you're going to end up being a permanent resident and a citizen in Australia if you walk through the pathway. But that's not guaranteed at the moment in the UK with a lot of recent changes. But we haven't got a crystal ball in hand. Things can change, obviously. At the moment, I think when we talk about the permanent residency and the settlement options, Australia is going to be a clear winner. Again, another slide which compares 4 different countries, USA, UK, Australia, Canada, with regards to the licensing exams kind of things. So I'm not going to go through everything because it's going to consume a little bit of time. When we talk about Australia, probably if you look at the entry pathways as well as the relative cost, salary potential and lifestyle, in comparison to all the other countries and the destinations, probably Australia is going to be the winner here again. Just to touch a bit on like the USA, Canada exams, they test quite a lot on the basic sciences in the step 1, step 2, UKMLE and MCCQE kind of exams. If you are a doctor who has been graduated 5-10 years ago, probably you will not remember tiny details about the pathology and stuff, and it's going to be a hard work for you. But obviously, the Australian clinical exams are a bit more flexible. If you do the question banks, if you follow structured course, I think it's more or less doable. There are different pathways that we can use to get the Australian Medical Council or the AFRA registration. The standard pathway or the most common pathway is the AMC pathway. You do the English exams, you become eligible for the registration purposes of the AFRA. Then you do your AMC1, which is a computer-based MCQ exam. If you're really lucky enough, you might be able to secure a job with your previous experience with the AMC1 exam. It's worth mentioning the job markets are a bit dynamic at the moment. Sometimes you might need AMC2 to secure a job, but you might still be really fortunate enough to secure a job with AMC1. The competent authority pathway is a slightly different pathway. Doctors who have been registered with the Medical Council from a country which has got similar healthcare system like the UK, US, Canada, New Zealand or Ireland, if you have been working under a supervised training or a practice period for 12 months, you become eligible to get the Australian Medical Council or the AFRA registration without having to take the AMC exam. So that's an alternative way of getting the Australian Medical Council registration. The third pathway, or the bit more specialist kind of pathway, if you are a specialist in your own specialty from a home country, your application to get the specialist registration will be evaluated against the AFRA standards. If you meet the criteria for their registration, you will get the registration right off the bat. Sometimes they decide you are partially comparable or incompletely comparable, so that you'll have to do a bit of more training to get the full registration as a specialist in Australia. The newest pathway they have introduced was rolled out back in 2024 November time for a couple of specialties from similar healthcare systems. They have enrolled a new specialist pathway called the Expedited Specialist Pathway. If you hold specialist registration from a comparable healthcare system and a country, you get the specialist recognition and the specialist qualifications recognized, and it will allow you to work in the capacity of a specialist in Australia. So that's the newest addition to the Australian healthcare registration pathway. Short-term training in medical specialty pathway, it's the pathway that we commonly refer as the foreign training or the overseas training. For example, the doctors, those who have done postgraduate studies in Sri Lanka, those who have already got the MD qualifications from Sri Lanka, will be eligible for a 2-year foreign training in their respective specialty. So they get like a limited registration for a period of 2 years. At the end of 2 years, you are expected to terminate the contract, and either you'll be returning back to your home country to get the board certification, or you can pursue one of the about 3 pathways to retain after you secure a job. So that's a slightly different pathway. So I'm pretty sure some of our audience is quite keen to know what doctors are making in Australia. This is all information that we extracted from the Australian Taxation Office statistics from 2023-2024. If you just look at the top 6 jobs or the occupations, 6 out of 5 are doctors. Obviously, the surgeons are going to be making a bit more money because of the procedures they do, and obviously because of the private work they do. But as you can see, doctors earn more than the CEOs compared to some of the other countries. So Australia is a clear winner when it comes to financial benefits and financial security in the long run. One of the other things I just wanted to touch a bit on is which is not there in the slide. For example, if you're thinking of raising a family, settling down in Australia, buying a new property, there are exceptional exemptions for the doctors as well, exceptional services for the doctors. You don't pay the lending mortgage insurance. There will be less down payment, like 5% of the deposit for the doctors. There are a lot of opportunities and a lot of benefits for the doctors. Right, so this is a very interesting slide. I think I got it from somewhere in South Asia. This is a heavy traffic congestion. How I see about practicing medicine is like driving a car, basically. Even if you have 20 years of experience driving a car, you might fail the driving test in Australia or the UK, because it's not all about learning the things, it's all about unlearning the things. If you've been practicing wrong medicine for a long time, it's going to be very difficult for you to unlearn the things and get accustomed to a different healthcare system, which religiously stick to the guidelines and good medical practice. I see quite a lot of foreign medical students, like the undergraduates, have got the perception, look, I haven't practiced medicine in Sri Lanka for a long time, so will that be a disadvantage for me to secure a job in Australia? Which is not the case, because each and every country is different when it comes to practicing medicine. Even I had to learn quite a lot of things, despite the fact that I've worked in 4 different countries already. I've worked in Scotland, I've worked in England, I've worked in Sri Lanka as well. Now I work in Australia. I've worked in primary, secondary, and tertiary care. However, every day is a day in school. You need to learn the things. You keep learning things until you die. So Australian medical registration and pathways is no one size fit for all. Some will be starting their career at a different place. For example, someone will be pursuing a master's degree with Newcastle, as Apurva said, while they're preparing for the AMC exam. So each and every person have got like a different starting point when it comes to the Australian medical pathway and the journey. And it's worth mentioning, there may be few colleagues, those who will be raising the brow, they will be looking down on you, but obviously you'll meet such people everywhere you go. So it's a very welcoming country. It's a very like a very friendly country. You will thrive as a medical professional, and I'm telling that with my own experience. When it comes to our future plans, I think Rec Campus is on the brink of launching an AMC preparation program, which is going to be tailor-made to different cohorts of our audience. For example, if it's like the undergraduates, we will be incorporating that as one of the elective modules in their 3rd and 4th years. That's what we were planning at the moment, which is not going to be an extra burden for them. They can incorporate that to their day-to-day clinical work and get their head around like the Australian medical system going forward. Obviously, the doctors, those who have been practicing medicine for a long time with better clinical experience kind of things, they just need a bit of push up. They just need to pull up their socks and get the exam out of their way. So we'll be thinking about a crash course for them. So I think there will be a lot of overlaps in our presentation. So we'll just keep the questions as the last thing, because some of the questions will be already answered in this presentation and the presentations to come through. In the absence of any other burning questions, I think I'm going to wind up. Sorry, I had to rush through my presentation slightly, but I'm more than happy to take the questions if you've got like any burning questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Madhuranga, for sharing your experiences and guidance with us. So moving on to our next session, we are pleased to welcome Dr. Maheshika Vaniarachi. She will provide an overview of the AMC examination, discuss the pathway for international medical graduates, and share useful guidance on the early steps and preparation strategies for the exam. I would like to invite Dr. Maheshika to begin her presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Tanisha. Can you all see the slides?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, okay. So let me take you through the roadmap to becoming a doctor in Australia through the AMC pathway. I think you got a lot of information from Dr. Madhuranga, since he has worked in Sri Lanka, UK, and Australia as well. So this is about AMC examination. So Australian Medical Council examinations, national body, AMC, national body assessing international medical graduates, that is Australia Medical Council. So it ensures knowledge, clinical skills, and professionalism meet Australian standards. Essential step toward medical registration in Australia, and it's ideal for doctors seeking training and career opportunities. So what is this pathway? There are a few steps. Once I know this among you all, there are practicing doctors, there are undergraduates who are maybe in 3rd year, 4th academic or 5th, are maybe just graduated, or some are, if you are a foreign graduate, maybe you are preparing for ERPM, and you maybe some must have completed ERPM and waiting for your internship, and some maybe must have completed internship and practicing as a doctor in Sri Lanka. So I hope all of your dream is to go and settle in Australia, to migrate to Australia and work as a medical professional. So this is, as I think Dr. Madhuranga explained, the pathways. So we will be talking the most common pathway for international medical graduates. This is the commonest pathway they take, which is standard pathway. So what you have to do is, to be eligible to go through this pathway, once you are graduated, when you have a degree, you have to see the eligibility, check the eligibility. That is called EPIC verification. Just after the graduation, once you are graduated, you don't have to wait until you complete your internship. So standard pathway, you have to sit for after this EPIC verification. When you are eligible, your degree is eligible, then you can get a date, you can reserve a slot for this AMC exam, AMC CAT MCQ. This is computer adapted test. Then after AMC part 1, it is just after AMC part 1, it's little difficult to get a placement. So you have to, there are two ways. One is clinical examination, which is an OSCE, and the other one is workplace-based assessment. So this clinical examination, OSCE, you have to go to Australia and face this examination. It is online, is there, but it is only for the residents. So, and then the other way is after AMC part 1, if you are lucky enough, you will get if you get a placement, while working, you can face this assessment, which is called workplace-based assessment. And when you complete this, either one of these, either clinical examination, which is an OSCE, or workplace-based assessment, then you will get the medical registration, Medical Board of Australia. Then you can work as a doctor in Australia. So it's shown in this slide. When you get the medical degree, you check the eligibility, then you sit for AMC part 1, where you don't need English, I mean IELTS, any English competency you don't need, or the internship. You don't need either of these. You can sit for examination, clinical examination, AMC part 1. After that, clinical OSCE, or two ways you can go. Either you apply for a placement. If you are lucky enough after part 1, you may get a placement. If not, you have to ready for this clinical examination, OSCE. You have to face that. Then also you get the certificate. So all these both, one of these ways you can get the certificate, AMC, to practice as a doctor in Australia. So Sri Lankan medical graduate, if you are Sri Lankan medical graduate, same thing, like you have to face AMT part 1, then travel to Australia. AMC clinical examination part 2, which is an OSCE. I'm repeating the first slide. Then you get the AMC certificate, and then registration pathway with Medical Board of Australia. Right. After AMC CAT MCQ, your next opportunities. This is the same one. So be clear about this, because I have seen some questions in the chat. Clinical exam pathway is the route 1, and second one is employment. If you get an employment, it is workplace-based assessment pathway. So then you may understand by now, AMC part 1 is a gateway, not a final step, where we come to support you in Rec Campus. We support candidates through every stage of AMC preparation, from MCQ success to clinical readiness. Okay, let's talk about this AMC Part 1, CAT examination. There are 150 MCQs, 3.5 hours computer adaptive test, which is based on scenarios. And let me talk about this. What is this CAT examination? So CAT examination means like when like it's not all these 150 questions, all of you are not getting the same questions. Unlike a traditional paper-based examination, this CAT adjusts the difficulty of questions according to your performance. If you answer correctly, you may receive a more challenging question. If you answer incorrectly, the next question may be less difficult. Every candidate receives a unique sequence of questions, and the system estimates your level of medical knowledge throughout the exam. So here what you have to remember is the exam measures your overall competence, not simply the number of questions answered correctly. That is how you get the result. They cover it disciplines. For example, OBG, pediatric, psychiatrist questions are formulated. Question is based on real listening, diagnostic skills, management decisions, patient safe. You can understand this emphasis is on applying medical knowledge to patient care rather than recalling or memorizing subject areas, right? It is purely application of the theory you learned and also adapting to the system of the country, right? So the scoring is the examination is scored using computer adaptive testing methodology, not a simple percentage of correct answers. Results are reported as pass or fail. So this AMC does not publish a fixed passing mark, as the adaptive scoring model determines whether the required standards has been met. In this CAT format, candidates does not all receive the same 150 questions. So it may, like, the exam will start with a question with moderate difficulty. And as I told you earlier, if you answer correctly, more likely to get a more difficult question next. If you answer incorrectly, it will be less difficult, the next question. So that is about the AMC Part 1 examination, and Part 2 is a OSCE, where you cover 16 clinical stations, and they assess history-taking, physical examination, clinical reasoning, communication skills, management, planning, and professional behavior. And workplace, when we come to workplace-based assessment, this is an alternative to the AMC clinical exam. If you don't want to face this AMC Part 2, which is an OSCE, if you have got a placement after AMC Part 1, then you can go through this pathway, workplace-based assessment. So after passing CAT MCQ, eligible candidate may enter an AMC accredited workplace-based assessment program conducted by participating Australian health services. So here also they, what they assessed is case-based discussions, direct observations of clinical skills, professional practice. So successful completion of this workplace-based assessment also leads to AMC certificate. So these are the, this is basically what we talked was, which is more commonest pathway for international medical graduates, that is AMC standard pathway. And I think Dr. Madhuranga clearly talked about competency like pathway and specialized pathway. All these standard pathway is the commonest one. Competency authority pathway, which can provide a faster route to registration provided all eligibility requirements are met. Specialist pathway is commonly used by experienced consultants, and short-term training in a medical specialty pathway is not extended for permanent medical registration. So if you pass AMC Part 1, these are the myths we have among our graduates, maybe among our some doctors, but more, I think you are more aware about these things now. So why I have put crosses here? If I pass AMC Part 1, I automatically get a job in Australia. No. AMC Part 2 can be done from my home country. No. Workplace-based assessment is just another exam. No. This is while you are working, right? So AMC CAT MCQ, it's a knowledge gateway, clinical exam, demonstration of clinical skills, or after AMC CAT MCQ, you go to this clinical exam, you take that pathway, or workplace-based assessment, after which you will get the certificate, AMC certificate, and you will be eligible to work as a doctor in Australia. So that is all about the pathways. And what we are going to do with Rec Campus, we are ready to prepare you all at earliest. It's not normally what we do is we wait until we get, okay, after we get the graduation, after we get the diploma or the certificate or the qualification, only we will think, okay, what are we going to do? So where this is now Rec Campus has developed, and we are going to implement it in late, I think end of September, we are going to start, especially for the undergraduates. Whether you may be a foreign graduate, you may be a local graduate, or local graduates also may be state universities, maybe KDU or in KDU, whatever. The earlier you start, the more confident you can become, right? So we are going to prepare you with your medical college curriculum, where you have the fresh knowledge, where you have the clinical exposure, fresh professorial appointments, and you have the theory knowledge, very fresh knowledge. So start early. Build your Australian medical career from day one. The AMC journey is not something to begin only after graduation. Don't wait until the graduation. Early exposure helps students to understand this Australian medical system, clinical expectations, examination style, and you can prepare strategically. When you are in this, during your medical student period, when you are an undergraduate, you will get a supportive learning community, peer learning with fellow aspiring Australian doctors, mentorship and guidance, motivation throughout the preparation journey. So it does not have to be a lonely journey. All are together. And it's a smart investment during medical school. Avoid last-minute preparation after graduation. Use undergraduate years effectively and gain international exposure and confidence. So what we are asking is you to invest, if your parents are also here, invest in your future of your children while building your present. Your Australian medical journey starts today. So start today. Just we will be sharing a Google form, I think. Yeah. And you have to fill it and share with us, so we can get, it will be easy for us to categorize you and cater your needs. We can cater your needs. then we can, as I told you, it's going to be end of September. We are going to implement all these courses, whether you are an undergraduate or already graduate or working medical doctor, or just after, preparing for ERPM, or maybe you are preparing for your internship, whatever. We can cater your needs, right? And also, as Dr. Madhuranga said, I wanted to conclude my session saying, no one size fits all solution, which is very true. There is no one size fits all solution. It's your choice. Wherever you go, some may have some ideas. Okay, if you are a foreign graduate, you have to come to Sri Lanka, you have to do your internship, and then only you should think about migrating. It's nothing like that. It's all your choice, right? Where you want to go. And it's, you have to adapt to any country. If you are working in Sri Lanka, system is different. If you are working in UK, it's a different system. If in Australia, it's another different system, right? So you just have to adapt to the system. So my personal, my experience, not my message, and I know most of you have joined today. Undergraduates are there, and also working doctors also. If you are an undergraduate, so start your journey from today. Don't wait until you get graduated. Don't wait until you get your degree qualification, and don't wait to take the decision on that time. No, start from today. Thank you very much.
Tanisha.
Thank you, Dr. Maheshika, for your informative session. So it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗔𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗡, one of our distinguished alumni from Kustal State Medical University. She is currently serving as a consultant general practitioner in Australia. Through her dedication, hard work, and perseverance, she has built a successful international medical career. Today, she will share her journey, the challenges she encountered, and the experiences that shaped her path. Please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗔𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗡.
Thank you. Thanks for your introduction. It's a real pleasure to be talking to all of you today to share about my journey. So I graduated from Kustal State Medical University in Russia. And so as an international graduate, I always thought of whether to do the Sri Lankan exam or whether to go abroad. So I didn't do the Sri Lankan exam, and straight after graduating, I came to Australia and did my AMC Part 1. And then after doing the Part 1, because I graduated and came here without any clinical exposure or doing any internship, I thought to make myself a strong candidate to do the Part 2 as well. So straight after finishing my AMC Part 1, without applying for jobs, I did the Part 2 exam as well. And then I did the English exam, which can be any exam. I did the PTE, which was quite easy, and I'm sure it will be easy for all of you. So after passing AMC Part 1 and Part 2, it was really challenging to start work here as a doctor without having an internship. So what I did was making connections, making sure your CV is very clear and professional, and doing observerships. So I did observerships in 2 hospitals, and through them, I learned the strategies about how to apply broadly, and talking to people about opportunities and networking. So all of that helped me to get a clear understanding about what my pathways are, because without an internship, it's really difficult for you to get to, like, it's impossible for you to work as a doctor. So you have to do the internship. It can be in Sri Lanka or whichever the country you studied at, or in Australia. So luckily when COVID happened, I got the chance of doing an internship at Sunshine Coast University Hospital. And so after completing a whole year of internship there, which was rotations with emergency medicine, pediatrics, internal medicine, and I also had palliative care. And I decided to stay two more years, 1 year as a resident and 1 year as a registrar. So as you progress in the hospital, you can apply for different roles, different rotations. My main thing is, a lot of people think where you start is where you'll end up. Don't make your options very less by just focusing on, I want to be a surgeon and that's the only thing that I'm going to apply for. Just keep your options open and mainly apply for regional and rural hospitals, because they provide like really good clinical exposure, but also you can, you have a better chance of acquiring a job, especially because you are competing with local graduates and experienced doctors. So after doing all my rotations, I was interested in a specialty where I can do something surgical as well as have a good work-life balance. So I applied to Royal Australian College of GPs, which has an entrance exam. And so once you've gotten through the exam, you go into the training program and then you do whichever the years that you have to do. In my training program, it was 4 years as a registrar. So once I've done the 4 years, then I did the exam. So which is part 1 was clinical written exam, which was MCQ. And then the second part was OSCE. So I recently finished all of that and I'm a fellow now. So I'm working as a GP with special interest in skin cancer medicine. So I do 2 days of skin cancer excisions and 3 days of general medicine. So my advice to you guys mainly is that when you pass your exams, or even after part 1, just start applying for all the jobs anywhere in Australia. It doesn't have to be just Sydney and Melbourne. Just apply everywhere. And then, like I said, make connections, prepare well for interviews. And like when you get a rejection, don't be discouraged. Just call them and ask what you lacked and try to, gain those qualifications by doing other courses, CPR courses. Like there's a lot of things that you can do to make yourself a better candidate and like look strong in interviews. So once you've done all that, you can decide whichever the specialty that you want to go to. So my advice is simple. It's about being patient and staying consistent all throughout your journey. And don't ever compare your journey to anyone else, because it can be very different from you to anyone else who are applying, or their experiences, the way they've studied, the university they studied at. Everything can be very different. So as a general practitioner now, I have the best work-life balance I always wanted, and I build long-term relationships with my patients, and I always wanted to do something surgical, so I still get to do excisions. I excise skin cancers 2 days a week, which is really what I wanted to do. So, and also you can practice like, pediatrics, women's health, men's health. It doesn't matter. It's a broad specialty. So the other thing to remember is being flexible, working hard, talking to people, being eager to learn, especially. And it will look very challenging when you first start doing the exams, but it's not as hard as it seems, and it's not impossible. So I wish you all the very best for your future success. And I hope we can see many of you as colleagues working in Australia one day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Satya, for sharing your experience. So it is my great honor and privilege to invite Dr. 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗔𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗡, Chairman of REC Campus, to deliver the concluding remarks and officially bring today's session to a close. Under his inspiring leadership and continuous guidance, REC Campus has grown into one of the leading institutions in Sri Lanka for international education, creating countless opportunities for students to achieve their dreams. His vision and commitment have played a key role in strengthening our academic partnerships and student success over the years. We now invite you, Doctor, to deliver your concluding remarks.
Thank you, Tanisha, and good evening, everyone. Before we finish, I just like to say a few words. First of all, I would like to thank Ms. 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗢 for University of Newcastle for joining with us today and for sharing excellent opportunities at Newcastle University for our graduates. And we truly appreciate your great support and partnership. And I would also like to thank Dr. 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗔𝗧𝗑𝗣𝗢 for sharing his practical knowledge and valuable insight into AMC pathways. And I'm sure that our graduates benefited from his vast experience in UK and Australia. And so you have chance to compare all the options. And he has very well explained about these pathways and advantages and disadvantages. Hopefully, that's I really appreciate your sharing your genuine experience. Thank you very much, Dr. 𝗣𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗔𝗥𝗘𝗣𝗢. And my special thanks should goes to Dr. Maheshika Vanniarachchi, our Deputy Director of EDCA International and project coordinator of these AMC programs, for your continuous support and guidance and support. Without your support, these programs may not be succeeded. And of course, I wanted to thank, my special thanks should goes to Dr. Sachitra, as our one of proud alumni from REC Campus and from Kursk State Medical University in Russia. We are so proud of your achievements, Dr. Sachitra. And so thank you so much for sharing your journey with our junior students and our graduates. I believe that's really important for our doctors. Here, another important person I want to introduce to the audience, that Ms. Yasasmi, who is coordinating this university, Newcastle University admissions. And so in future, if you want to get more information about the university admission, so please contact Ms. Yasasmi. You can connect through our campus general number. And of course, I wanted to thank to Ms. Tanisha. Thank you very much, Tanisha, for hosting with your expert and professionals. So thank you, Tanisha. So today, I want to thank everyone who have joined here today for your dedication and commitment. I believe this program may be important for you, and in future, definitely, we are happy to help you throughout your journey. And of course, already you have an MBBS degree. And as I think you understood that the internship is important. If even you can apply for these non-clinical programs, for master programs. But if you wanted to practice as a clinician, of course, you need the internship. So better to complete the internship while you prepare for the internship. Even not only prepare for the internship before your graduation. Even you have to prepare for this AMC. If you start to prepare for AMC, then definitely you can achieve your goal. So I think your goal is not to just pass the AMC, not to just not to have a successful medical career. I think your goal should be to successful life in Australia, right? So I think today there are so many opportunities they have explained, and especially with the Newcastle University, we have direct partnerships with the REC Campus, and So advantage is Newcastle University is located in regional area. So, and you can get all the regional advantages. And post-study visa, I think that's up to 3 years, in addition to your study period of 2 years. So altogether, and you can get the other benefits like your spouse or other people. I mean, your spouse also can get the has the work rights, and you can accompany her. So that's the way usually I saw that our graduates, many graduates already came here and they are successfully practicing now. I'm so happy. There are it's like same like Sachitra. So definitely you also can do that. Yeah. So we are happy to help you, and so keep in touch. Thank you once again, and take care. And wonderful evening. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. So it's time for our Q&A segment. So
Yeah,
if you have
I think
any doubts,
almost all the questions raised
yes.
by audience we have answered. Is there any other questions so we can answer, or they can fill our Google form and you can submit. So our team will be keep in touch with you, and in future we will prepare WhatsApp group, and we can discuss all the questions. Yeah, sure.
Yes, of course. Okay, so we have now come to the end of today's session. Thank you to all our speakers for sharing their valuable insights and experiences, and to all our participants for being with us today. If you have any questions, concerns, or would like more information, please feel free to contact REC Campus Hotline at 0711 10 101010. So we are always happy to assist you. We hope today's webinar has provided you with a better understanding of postgraduate opportunities, medical career pathways, and the steps you can take toward achieving your future goals. Thank you once again for your time and participation. We wish you all the very best in your academic and professional journey. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.